Hey y'all, happy Memorial Day weekend and welcome to the Joy Starters podcast. This week's podcast is a collection of videos that I have made out on the road and at home the past couple of weeks. And if you are following me in real life, you know that I have had a heck of a past few weeks. A lot has happened, a lot. In addition to that, there have been trigger warning. There have been losses in the sports community as well. And that has really bothered me. So you're going to see a video, a plea to coaches. Please forward this to any coach that you know. I don't care if it's me, whoever it is, please, have them listen to it. And please also forward the podcast to anybody that you think would really like it. Also, you're going to see 2 videos of me coming home from speaking in Kentucky and what these people did and my message for other speakers. You're also going to see a video that I made after leaving my federal client, working with my federal client that I've been working with for the past year up at Kings Bay, and how much I adore them and love them and how much my work lights me up, baby. So this is a collection of videos that I've made. You know, everything that I do is from the heart. It's unfiltered, and it's just as real can be. I love you. I adore you. If you listen to this around the holiday, please have a safe and happy holiday. If you can't read it and listen and watch and all the things later on, I love you. I so appreciate you, and I am so glad you're here. Love you guys. And speaking of trigger warnings, I want to tell you a quick story of how I started giving them in the first place, because I do talk about a lot of sensitive information. I was speaking at a school. I love the story behind the story. I do these videos a lot, and I hope that they affect people. So I was speaking at a school in Arkansas, and I began to talk trigger warning about my dark night of the soul and what happened to me. And there was a young woman who had to leave early, spoke to the guidance counselor, who was one of the big proponents of me coming in. She was a big backer of me coming in. And she told her that she was triggered and that I should, in the future, give trigger warnings for when I'm about to talk about sensitive topics. Y'all, I think I've probably done it before, but I don't know that I made such an effort to do it. And I can't remember whether I talked to her on the phone or whether we went back and forth via email or text, but I remember the conversation and her being very truthful and very honest and saying, you know, you bothered me. Like, it bothered me to the point where I had to leave. And here's another great teaching moment. And that is that I didn't get angry at her. I was grateful for her. She taught me that I triggered her, that I bothered her, that I upset her. And so instead of, well, you should, and we do that as humans sometimes. We come back and we get defensive. I was grateful to her that she taught me that always I need to give a trigger warning. So from that moment forward, we began to incorporate trigger warnings in our captions, in our videos, in anything that we do in podcasts, in spoken form when I'm speaking. And so to that young woman in Arkansas, thank you for teaching me. Thank you for making me better. You definitely did. And that, my friends, is the story behind the story. Love you guys. Y'all, I love my job so much. Like, I love it. I love it. I could not love it more if I tried. I am just coming from, first of all, why didn't somebody tell me I had 2 stains on my shirt that looked like anyway, and that's my little super patch. But I love my job so much. I am a consultant coach for a very large federal contractor. And by the grace of God, I got this opportunity. It was from somebody that I coached, and another company went home and told their spouse how good the work was that we had done together. And there's nobody behind me. And she told her spouse, and her spouse then called me And this is the result of that. And I have been with these people for a year. And why am I saying this right now? I'm saying this because as I'm pulling out, I brought one team breakfast and stayed with them for a couple of hours. And then I brought another team lunch. And yes, we're talking about things that are going on the job site, but we're talking about your soul, your heart, your mind, your family. And one gentleman I'm talking to on the way out, he's telling me about his life and what's going on with his family, that they've got some like family beef, and he had tried and it didn't work. And then I said, well, here's another step that I'd say have you do. And he said, oh my gosh, I was going to do that. And he said, like, snail mail, which was write a letter. Snail mail or email? I said, snail mail, baby. We need to get back to the analog, to the old school way of things, because snail mail, they got it. That's going to live in perpetuity. And they got to read that sucker over and over and over again because he wasn't able to get his voice heard whenever he was speaking to them. So that happened, and then I'm just driving out, and I see one of my other former people that I've coached that I adore, that I think the world of, and he is telling me, and I saw a light to him. I saw a light to him whenever he walked in, and he didn't stay for lunch, and I could just sense it because I'm a big energy person. I sense a lightness to him, and he has gone through a custody battle with his child and got unfairly treated by a judge, as I often find with men. And I ended up writing the judge a letter on his behalf, a character reference, and I didn't think it was going to change anything after the fact the ruling was done, but I wanted him to know that this person had people that were fighting for him on his side. And so I just rolled down my window, and he and I talked about his children, about his daughter, to never stop fighting for her, because the way that she relates in relationships, the way that she dates, the way that she marries is absolutely 1000% based on how her daddy treats her, how her daddy pursues her, how her daddy is relentless. No matter if the mama is not being cooperative or being healthy, you can still send your daughter snail mail letters, cards, you can call her, you can let her know. And at the end of the day, she can know my daddy never stopped fighting for me. And so I just got to have this little 5-minute heart-to-heart with him, tell him I saw him, tell him I loved him, and I was proud of him as a father. And that was early morning, one project. Second one was her lunch, and just having those conversations, those little conversations, and knowing what makes people tick, knowing who they are, knowing what they're walking through. It is just the most rewarding work, and I pray that whether it's work or whether it is a passion project, that you find something that is so rewarding to you too. I love you. I hope you're proud of yourself. And I have heard that saying a lot. I've heard it when you do something that is wrong, when you do something you probably are ashamed of or should be ashamed of, but I want to use it in a different way. I hope you're proud of yourself. I really, truly hope you're proud of yourself. Today was my first day back in the gym after weeks of a lot of life events. And there was a moment during CrossFit, and I love my CrossFit family, where I got teary-eyed because it was the first time I didn't bring Buddy in like 5 years. And I had a lot of other life events and death anniversaries and Mother's Day and just a lot of stuff. A lot of grief, a lot of layered grief. And after those tears, or during those tears in the gym, I thought, I am so proud of you, Rachel. I'm so proud of you. Look what you did. You got up, you put your clothes on, and you came. So I just want to tell you today, I don't care what size steps you're taking, if they're baby steps or little steps or micro steps, I hope you're proud of yourself. I love y'all, and I love me, and I'm proud of me. Have a great day. I have a message for every coach, every leader out there, particularly coaches. I was just talking to one of my athletes. I have gotten to know mothers that have become dear friends of mine, and she was telling me there was another suicide in their community this week. There was another suicide in a college this weekend. There have been multiple suicides in pro sports at the highest level. Listen to me, please listen to me, please listen to me. If you are a coach, I don't care if it's me or somebody else, but please start bringing people in to talk about mental health, about soul care, about how to love yourself, about boundaries, about all of these things, y'all. We can no longer put our heads in the sands, and especially if you are a coach or a leader of people, I am begging you, do not stick your head in the sand and say that won't happen here, because it is happening everywhere. I have been doing this for 10 years. I too have had a dark night of the soul. Please, I am begging you as coaches, I would love to come speak to your team, but if it's not me, there are many people out there. I am just as a point of context. I am a lay person who has been through a dark night of the soul, who encourages people, humans, miracles, to go use the resources that they have. We have also helped people in the middle of the night when they have called me and said, Miss Rachel, I feel like taking my life. But if you brought me in, I'm letting you know this, I encourage them to use the resources that you already have. But if they call me, we are going to, as a group, address their issues and get them help ASAP. But listen to me, my guys over at different organizations are sounding the alarm. Eric, my friend Eric, at Same Here Global, he's been sounding the alarm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? We have to do more. We have to do more. We have to do more. We have to sit around the table. We have to start talking. We have to get real. We have resources that I'm changing the narrative. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. I will drop one below, but my gracious, y'all, it is no longer time to stick your head in the sand and say, I hope this doesn't happen here, or I don't think this will happen here, or I think my players are okay. It is time to take action. I love you guys, and I'm praying, and I'm heartsick. Something else I just want to say. Just cried halfway home for my baby, and I know he's in a better place. I know he's without any pain. I know he's with my mom, but I miss him. And it's the first trip that I have been on in 9 years where I don't have a plan to go pick him up. But something else I want to say to aspiring speakers is that if you don't want to get in the muck and the mire with people, then don't do this. If you don't want to get in it, if you're not in it 1,000%, if it's just a talk for you, then don't do this. Because if this is a calling on your life, this is what God called you to do, you will get in the mud with people. You will hug people. I'm telling a story of at a school where I was waiting afterwards, and this child hugged me, and honestly, the child smelled like onions. I mean, God bless this child, had not showered in days, or their clothes hadn't been washed, and I hugged this child anyway. And long after the child left me, I smelled like onions, and the Lord reminded me that you too smell like onions sometimes, Rachel. And I hugged you anyway. I loved you anyway. I chose you anyway. I hung on a cross for you anyway. And I was talking with my friend Pat about this last night. And some speakers, some presenters want to speak and leave. They want to just, they want to insulate themselves. And if that's like a protection mechanism, then okay. I don't understand it, because the only way that I know is to go in. In the first talk that I gave last night, I just got off the stage because there was lights, and I just got in the audience, and this man was like, I'm so lonely, in the middle of the church service. And I was like, oh, brother, I'm so sorry. And I hugged him. And then I'm up at the front, and I'm nobody special, y'all. I'm not perfect. I'm special. I'm flawed. I'm messed up. I'm all the things. But for whatever reason, people feel comfortable sharing with me. And people were hugging me and coming to tell me their prayers and their stories and their life. And I just embraced every one of them. And just want to remind you, if you're doing this for the applause, if you're doing this for the money, if you're doing this for the, showmanship and the look at me, it's not for you. It's not what God called you to do, at least. You will never feel this deeply if you don't go all in. I'm begging you to go all in. I'm begging you to do your flight later that night or the next day, and to stay late, and to
talk to everybody there and to give contact information and to follow up and to build relationships. That's what I'm begging you to do, because that is how I have made this movement what it is in 10 years. And it hurts. It's painful. I hurt with them. I have empathy. I feel their pain. I take it home with me. But I also pray and believe and hope and all of those things. But I'm in that moment with them. And I would have it no other way. I can't be separate from you. I can't, oh, you're over there, there's your pain. Hi, nice to meet you. I spoke to you tonight or today or this morning. It's just not how I operate. So just a tip for other speakers, other sacred space holders, not speakers, sacred space holders, because we're different. We're a different breed. That's what I teach people to be, is sacred space holders, not speakers. Go all in, baby. And even if you're not a speaker, go all in. Go all in life. Go all in. Go all in. Go all in. Love people hard. We're not promised tomorrow. I talked about this over the weekend. I was saying earlier this week, something told me. No, the Holy Spirit told me on Monday, take your dog on a walk. He just didn't say the rest of the sentence, and he didn't have to because he's a Holy Spirit. And the rest of the sentence was, you might not get another chance. And he went downhill very quickly on Tuesday. And I thank God that I listened and put on my shoes on Monday and took him on a walk. I thank God that we got fresh air and he enjoyed it and all of those things. So, yeah, I just want you to be led by the Holy Spirit, whether you're a speaker or not a speaker, but especially if you're a speaker. Please don't get into this. My friend Jeremy Anderson would say this. I remember the first time I got invited to speak at his conference 3 years ago. I thought I was going to a speaker's conference. Baby, I was going to a revival at the side of a speaker's conference, and I'm going back this year. Even though I'm not on the stage this year, these are like my friends and family, and I'm going to support and learn. That man, and everybody around him, but that man, I can say, like, puts everything into this. This ain't a speaker. This ain't just like a gig, a conference. Like, it's his calling. It's his life. It's his ministry. It's his mantle. Same here. And I would have it no other way. There's no way I could have gone to Kentucky, to Christ Chapel. Thank you, Pastor Terry. Thank you, Pastor Denny. Thank you, Pastor Craig, Pastor Autumn. Thank you to everybody there who loved me and embraced me. Foibles and all, idiosyncrasies and all, screw-ups and all, and just loved me and let me love your people. I embraced them. I hugged them. I got in the muck and the mire with them because I'm so imperfect. And I've been there, and I'm still there, and I'm still battling. Thank you for letting me get real with your people. And they got real with me. And I'm so very, 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 very thankful for that. I love you guys. I promised I would document my feelings. Promises for myself, for my future self, for my kids, or the people that find this one day. But I'm driving home, and I miss my dog, you know. I miss picking him up and making plans and all that. But I'm thinking about, as I was dropped off today, I was talking to one of the precious people that brought me in, and she said, what was your favorite part? And I said, without pause, I said, the people, the people, the people, the people, the people, the people. Here I am, and I'm not minimizing it at all, but I'm missing a dog, and he was my soul dog, so I'm not minimizing it. But I met a woman named Kim who nursed her child above and to the heavens, who had ALS. She was married. She went about her way. She did all the things. Marriage fell apart. She got sick. She was scared to die alone. She brought her into her home, and she nursed her as she passed away. We talked about her. She was so cute. I met a father at 35 who lost his wife, and he has 4 kids. And the pastor called him out in the church and spoke to him because the pastor had just lost his wife in the past year or so. He said, I know we're different ages, but I just want to tell you, grief knows no age. And he gave him flowers, because they gave this in bloom flowers to women in the he said, I've never given a man flowers. So afterwards, I was selling books, and I spoke directly to him during the sermon, and I was like, look, mine has been 7 years since my mom, and I gave all 3 different messages in 3 services, and some of them I talked about my dog, and I don't think the last one I did, but I saw him, and I saw his kids, and I spoke to him in a heart to heart, and he was in the lobby when I was leaving and selling books after the second service, and I just gave him a book, and we held on to each other, and I said, it's going to be okay. It's going to break your heart. It's going to rip your heart out. It's going to be okay. Because you'll see her again. I hugged his kids. I gave him a book. All the things. I met a police officer in the Cincinnati Police Department, said that we need more of you. My gracious, we need more of you. I met a father who was going through a custody battle with his kids, and I'm praying for him. I met a girl who is just out of treatment and is doing so good, and we cried and prayed together about her future. I met a mother who, her kids aren't talking to her. She's tried. I said, try again. Be the one that tries again. He leaves the 99 to go after the one, and and it's so hard to do, but I don't care if you call me back love, but I'm going to tell you I love you, love. I met so many, and that was just part of it. There was more. I met so many wonderful people this weekend. It stole my heart. That prayed over me. There was a young man behind me in the first service, and he was just singing his heart out, and he was beautiful. He was just singing reckless abandon, and I saw him before I went up on stage. I saw him bend over to pray, and so I just put my hand on his back and I began to pray over him, and then I whispered in his ear, may I pray over you? And he said yes. And so I just prayed over his future. I prayed over his dreams. I prayed over his life. I prayed the balm of Gilead. Jesus is the balm of Gilead. To invade his life, for doors to be open, for doors to be shut, for the devil to be bind away from him. All these things I prayed over him. And I don't know if it was after the service or what, but he said, my name's Benny and I play for Memphis football. He said, I want to introduce myself. And I said, I know Coach Huff, and hopefully to come speak to y'all in the future, but that's just a snippet. The pastor on Saturday night, he and his wife, their story, his mother prayed for him for 19 years, and he said he would come to Mother's Day just to appease her, and then he finally got saved, and just what a blessing it was. And his wife's infertility journey, and her love of turtles, and how God used to speak to her through turtles. I met all these people. The woman who brought me in that I met through my friend Pat. My friend Pat! She was the quarterback at Minnesota's mom. And because PJ Fleck and Heather Fleck had me in for 9 years, she heard me in her home during a Zoom during the pandemic and said, I want to be friends with her. I want to serve with her. And we've been friends ever since. I've spoken at her school, spoken at this church because of her. And the person that she brought me in with used to be a drug addict, and by the grace of God, she's alive. This is what I got in 24 hours in Kentucky. I didn't go pour out to them. They poured into me. They touched me. They loved me. They hugged me. Oh, Jesus. They were so kind. They were so precious. There was this one family. The mom was buying a book, and there were little kids there, and I said, come here. I said, what are you going to do for your mom for Mother's Day? And they said, oh no. And I said, maybe you could pick her some flowers, or wash the dishes, or make her a letter, or make her a card, or pick up your toys. And I said, Pinky promised me, and they said, Pinky promised. It was just beautiful. Like, it was so beautiful. And I'm so thankful to Christ Chapel Church in Erlanger, Kentucky for having this girl in. 40 years old, this church was. 40. And I said that to the pastor all weekend long, that you would trust me with your flock. You would trust this girl with your flock. Just mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. So, I'm heartbroken that I'm going home without a dog. My dog. But I'm so grateful my cup runneth over for the people that loved me, hugged me, were precious to me. Told me I mattered, told me my message mattered, told me it spoke to them. Poured out their heart to me, loved me this weekend. And I get to